Good morning.
Morning everyone.
Happy Sunday.
Yes, welcome to Sunday. Happy Sunday.
It's a bit of a dismal day here on the Finca, but it was forecast, very cloudy, lots of mist over the mountains.
Not great for solar.
Not great for solar.
Fortunately, with our extra panels, it is holding its own.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is fantastic news.
We're up in the hayloft with a fire lit, because it is, it's our Saturday, your Sunday, and we're winding down a little bit for the weekend. So today we promised you a Q&A, so thank you to all of you that have sent in the questions.
I have a lot of questions. Janine has many questions. Hi Janine,
Hi,
in Florida. And Mark has many questions as well. Hi Mark in the UK. May as well not put messing out straight into it. The first question we had was about the weather. Now, I'm really, really sorry, but for some reason the comment has disappeared. The comments do disappear inexplicably sometimes.
Yeah, so we don't know who it's from.
We can't remember the name of the person who asked the question. But basically they asked, what's the weather like here relative to the UK? Can we wear shorts and t-shirts and things like that? Generally, this time throughout the winter we get highs of about 17-ish.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon was 17. We were still kind of layered up, but I'm sure if you went to other areas where people are on holiday, you would find people in shorts and t-shirts if they come from the UK. If
you came from the UK, definitely you'd be wearing shorts and t-shirts. I'm sure probably like a June day in the UK. But yeah, we get 17, 19, sometimes 20s over the winter.
Yeah.
At night, it falls to, we can get down to about -4.
Yeah, it drops drastically at night, and I think that's the problem.
As soon as the sun, it's like switching off the heat, and it's instant.
Whereas in the UK, the temperature stays around 6 all day, and not much different at night, obviously, unless they get a frost. But here, the difference in the daytime and the nighttime temperatures are quite dramatic, and so you really do feel the cold as soon as the sun goes
Sometimes
down.
it'll come up to 20 degrees difference overnight during the day.
Yeah.
And plus it's 40 odd degrees in the summer, and so we actually do
we get used to it
because we're obviously acclimatised to this. So obviously when it drops down to 17, we think it's pretty cold. They also mentioned relative to the coast. The coast, we're about, what are we, 50 kilometres, about 30 miles inland, but we're at an altitude of just under 600 metres. And the coast, the nighttime temperatures, like Alicante for example, or Torrevieja or places like that, tend to be they're about 5 or 6 degrees warmer than us overnight, but in the day 2 or 3 degrees, not a dramatic difference in the day. But yes, I'm sure if you came from the UK, you will be wearing shorts and t-shirts, certainly during the day. You probably need a jacket for the evenings. So yeah, thanks for the question. So apologies again, I've looked through the mail notifications, I've looked through the page itself, but
just disappeared.
It's gone.
But fortunately we remembered the questions.
We have had this before though, yes. Or hopefully remembered
Hopefully we've answered it, and if not, then drop us another comment and we will endeavour to do so in a future video.
We'll try harder next time.
Next question from Mark in Newcastle in the UK. Hi Mark.
Away.
Mark asks, how fluent are we in Spanish? Well, I have to hold my hands up and say I'm not. Andy is much better and can converse with most locals without any problems. I get by. I know all the words for food and drinks, and I can go to a restaurant and order my food in Spanish. If I go to the supermarket and there's not something on the shelf that I'm looking for, I'm comfortable enough to ask for what I'm looking for. That's about it. If I can have general conversation, good morning, how are you, talk about the weather.
We like to talk about the weather.
The things that most people learn when they come to a different country. But that's about as far as it goes. When Emilio pops in, I say do the basics, and then it's over to Andy, and he kind of translates.
Yeah, kind of. We kind of don't really mix with expat communities. If that's, I hate that word. Immigrant communities is the proper word, and tend to stick with Spanish generally.
Yeah.
So and yes, I'm all right. I can pretty much get. Sometimes I get a bit. Lost on a word and have to learn a new word. But yeah, even tenses and stuff, verb tenses, not too bad, but they tend to get by.
You do.
Get around. It's more difficult on the telephone. And especially another thing with this area, different areas of Spain, just like different areas of the UK, have quite strong accents.
Yeah.
And in Murcia, where we are, it is quite
a strong accent. Much different to Valencia region, which is where we used to live. Yeah.
So you kind of adapt.
Yeah.
Matt's also asked, how did we learn it? Well, in my case, I actually spoke French quite well. I had a place in France for years before, and on that basis, because I understood all my French verb conjugations, tenses, and all that sort of thing, it was quite easy, surprisingly easy, to transfer that to Spanish because the principles are the same. It was just a case of learning new words. And we used to joke with a chap that I used to share a flat with when I first moved over here. If you don't know the word, say it in English and stick an O on the end of it, And surprisingly, there was a lot of similarity between English verbs and English nouns to Spanish nouns as well. And once you they reckon, I read somewhere a long time ago, it might have been one of the Times or something like that, but there's only 250 words used on a daily basis in any language, the core. So, to learn those isn't that difficult. To apply different verb tenses to those words becomes another ball game. But basically just and from immersion as well.
Yeah. From my experience, I went onto the campsite for 3 years. The first 6 months I was there, I went to Spanish classes run by somebody who wasn't a Spanish teacher, just one of the animation team.
But they were Argentinian as well.
They used to
that's slightly different.
They used to run Spanish classes twice a week for an hour. And that's where I learned my basic Spanish. I learned all the numbers, learned the alphabet and how to pronounce the alphabet. And Spanish is very phonetic. So if you know the alphabet and how each letter is pronounced, you can work out when you look at a word how to say it properly. So that was a great help to me. However, what we didn't do, which I really wanted to do, was many verbs. We did the basic to be and to have. But the people that I was in the class with were tourist holidaymakers, and they used to say, we don't need to know the verbs, we just want to know how to order a beer or a coffee, or, so it got to the point where I wasn't learning anything else, and so I stopped going. Also, I started working on the campsite around the same time, so I didn't have the time either. And the rest of it I've just kind of picked up from listening to Andy. When we do go to Spanish bars and restaurants, I do try and practice my Spanish. It is getting better, but everything I know is in the present tense. I can work out a lot of verbs now, but it tends to be in the present tense, and I'm not good at the past or the future. But I get by. But that's how I learn.
Just get stuck in, You'll pick it up. Cool. Yeah. I hope that answers everything on that part. Mark also asked what initially brought us to Spain. We've actually did pretty much a whole video on that, and if you want to watch it, say was going over old ground again, it's number 12. A bit about us. Yeah. If you go to the search box on our page and just type 12 and search, it'll come up. Great idea of numbering the videos. Makes it so much easier to find them.
Yeah.
And lastly, Mark's asked, what are our passions and interests?
Well, I think for both of us it's got to be food. We love nice food. When we were able and we had more time, we like nothing better to go to a nice restaurant and have good quality food. And now we try and cook it at home as much as we can.
Yeah, and we avoid packety stuff and processed food and all that.
We don't do processed wherever we can avoid it. Other passions, well...
You're the world's greatest dancer.
No.
Sharon's dad was the world's greatest dancer. Well, you danced when you were younger?
I've danced from being about 5 years old. Unfortunately gave it up when I got to about 16 because I was doing exams at school and I didn't have time. Probably one of my biggest regrets, but I still love to watch other people dance, and if we go out I'm up there on the floor. But I'm not great.
If you're interested in dancing yourself, learn the rumba. Sharon taught me the rumba. And you can do a rumba to anything, I swear. And I can prove it. I can try it, learn it, and prove it. You can, anything. AC/DC, Mozart, anything.
Yeah, not quite right, but anyway, Andy thinks he can and he enjoys it, so that's all that matters.
And also, I like to play the guitar. We used to play for hours a day, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I've not actually picked it up that much now. Well, probably for the last year or so. So I'm a bit rusty, but hopefully when we get a bit more time for ourselves, we'll pick that up again and we'll sing a song around the campfire.
And of course animals. Big
animals,
passion.
Yeah. Currently, I used to be interested in bikes and bike racing and all that, but that's ticked off, that one, and parked. So yeah, basically, I mean the biggest thing is doing this place. So having a nice life is probably my biggest passion at the moment. With a nice quality of life, peaceful, and
it's great where we are. It is so quiet, it is so peaceful. If we want people, we can
peace of mind as well.
We can go into town. It's not that far away. But yeah, we've got rid of all that stress of running a business. We had a great 7 years, but it was time. And I think now our passion, as Andy said, is this place.
Passionate about life.
Yeah, and getting this place
and having a nice one.
And taking care of our animals. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so the lovely Janine in Florida. Hi Janine again. Janine asks, how much land have we got? We've got just over 2,000 square metres, which is about half an acre, and that includes the footprint of the building, which is 350 square metres. I'm not sure what that is in feet.
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
No, don't know. Google it.
When we first came to see the house and decided to go ahead and buy, it seemed an awful lot of land, and we were absolutely thrilled. It's actually not that big. By the time,
not when you've got donkeys and
dogs, and obviously we're trying to grow our own food, so we've got little beds and trenches everywhere, and actual space for us, apart from the courtyard, we've got the bit in front of the house where we've got a few flower pots, and that's it. So
we keep hinting at our farmer neighbour that we'd like another half an acre.
I think that
the bit behind us would be absolutely perfect. Yeah.
On a previous video we showed you a piece of land that may be available. We're still waiting to hear on that. That is a very, very big piece of land, and it might be too much for us because there's only so much we could do with it. But as Andy said, this piece behind the house, which has currently got almond trees in it, would just be perfect.
So we're working on it.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yes. What else has Janine asked? Are we going to increase the size of the dog run? Yes, we are. The dog run is at the back here on this piece of land that we're just talking about. It's actually we own sort of X amount of it, and then it's a bit. It is, yeah. We're going to actually double that. Where we've got all the wood dumped at the back, we've now got a new wood pile up the top of the land, and we're going to double the size of the dog run. Well, that's down to cost, really.
Down to cost, down to time. Which kind of leads on to another question. Janine asked, what would we have done differently? We hadn't spoken to each other about this question. I saw it the other night and I've been thinking about it, and this morning I said to Andy, so what would you do differently? We both said animals.
nothing is the short answer.
Yeah. Sorry, I get upset. We love our animals. Absolutely love them. They give us so much pleasure. However, they came a bit too early. You know, the dogs desperately needed a home. Donkey came along totally wrong time. We'd spoken about getting a donkey, and obviously we wanted a couple of dogs, but they all happened at the wrong time, and the money we had to invest in building the kennel and the enclosure, the stable and the enclosure, took a lot away from money we needed to spend on this place. And our plan originally,
and the time as well,
and the time, the plan originally was to get this ready for Christmas and us in for Christmas, and we are in for Christmas and we're not complaining, but that's the only thing we would have done differently if we were able to. But of course you don't have a choice when an animal needs help. You do it. Sorry, you know what I'm like.
So if we had had a choice, we would have sort of waited a little bit longer to get the animals, but we didn't have a choice. So the answer to that is nothing really. We've got no regrets at all.
They're brilliant, you know.
And I think the most important thing coming up now is to try and give ourselves a bit more time, to give us a better quality of life, because the animals do take up a lot of time. It's not time we'd begrudge, but that's why we've cut the videos down from 6 a week down to 3.
Often it's midday before we start work, because we've had to do all the animals, and and we seem to just work, eat and sleep at the moment, and that's not good. So as Andy said, for 2022, which is another one of Janine's questions, our plans are to try and spend more quality time together, a bit less work, a bit more pleasure.
Of course, as the house gets more done as well, then that gives us a bit more time as well. So we'll come to that in a minute, 2022 as well.
Okay.
What's next?
Are we going to have chickens?
Yes!
Definitely.
Yes.
Oh, can't wait to be able to have
free-range eggs.
Free-range eggs.
Yeah,
fantastic.
We love eggs, so that's another thing. But like we said, what we do differently, we're not rushing into that at the moment, because we've got enough on our plate. To then start taking on chickens as well. But
and we've got to build a coop and a little enclosure for them, so
maybe that'll come in our plans for 2022 as well.
Yeah, it would be nice to think that we could have some chickens next year, but
absolutely,
we're not going to rush into it, as Andy says.
Right, so Janine, also, how much does it cost to feed the animals?
Donkey and goatee we haven't had that long. We bought a big bale of straw, about 800 kilos it weighed. We're about halfway through it now, and that cost us €50. So I'm guessing a couple of months.
With the grain and
the grain as well, which is €10.
Luckily, we get carrots for free for them at the moment.
At the moment, that's fantastic.
Well, we're reckoning about €25 a month.
€25 a month, I would think, for donkey and goatee.
We said about €30 a month for the dogs.
Yeah, about 30 for the dogs, and because they have the biscuits, then they have their bones and treats and things like that.
And about the same for the cats.
And the cats, because cat food is more expensive than dog food for some reason. So although they're smaller and eat a lot less, it's about the same. Yeah.
The vet bill's more than treble.
Yeah, and that's another thing that when I was saying about the animals, we didn't bargain for such a huge bill for Donkey's care.
He wasn't
worth every
way,
penny.
Though,
he was in such a bad way, but it was a huge bill. And then of course the puppies, they needed all their inoculations, had to have them castrated because they were getting a bit frisky. It's all money we didn't bank on spending quite so soon, but it's gone now, and we're moving forward, and we have no regrets. They are fantastic.
Anything else? Oh, just the plans for 2022. Is that plans for and as we just said, better quality of life for us. Chickens.
We need to get the roof done.
The roof, that's
on the main
an early priority, because it does leak in some places, and obviously the longer it leaks, it's degrading the actual fabric of the building. What happens with these stone buildings? The walls open at the top if you get water in. So I mean, it's okay at the minute. It'll be maintained by the previous owner to an extent that it wasn't being let to fall down. But we need to give that some attention.
Yeah, we do.
Get this place finished.
Definitely, yeah. This is going to be our home for, I reckon, about 5 years at least, because downstairs is a big job. So we want to make it comfortable. We want to get this.
Yeah, and once the roof's done, if we're comfortable up here.
Yeah.
There's no panic, is there?
Maybe the courtyard downstairs.
Yes, that'd be nice for summer.
Because last year we had this year, it's because it's nearly Christmas, you see, I'm running away with myself now. We had that temporary gazebo which we lost in the wind a few weeks ago. So if we are going to be sitting out in the summer eating, we need some shade. So
we've got some big slabs we want to put
and
down.
Some big slabs, because at the moment it's all stony and the weeds and it's not pleasant really.
And then put a roof over it to give us nice shade in the summer.
Yeah, and that would be a nice area.
And just then start on the rest of the house. We're going to do the kitchen, utility room and snug downstairs first, because that's a nice living area, especially in the summer when you're just living outside all the time.
Yeah.
And just be happy and healthy is the most important one, I think.
Absolutely.
So I think that's everything, isn't it?
I reckon so. If we have missed a question, if you did send in a question and we've missed it, please feel free to put it down in the comments, and on our next video, which will be Wednesday the 22nd, we will endeavour to answer your question, and apologies for having missed it.
Cool. So thanks all for watching. If you want to know anything else about us, ask. We don't mind sharing.
No, we don't mind.
We've got no secrets, we've got nothing to hide. Yes, we'll be back on Wednesday. It's confusing us now, this new...
I know.
Well, it's every day. It's easy, but Wednesday, so it'll be the 22nd, and then we'll have the one after that on Friday the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. So until then, thank you so much everyone. Thanks to all the people that supported the channel. Thanks to the people that bought us a beer, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a great Sunday.